All right, everybody. This is Jarrett, and I am bringing you guys some stuff that I said that I would do for you guys. Um, so here we go. We're going to talk about junk removal, and we're going to talk about SEO. All right. So we're going to talk about junk removal and SEO for digital marketing. All right. So my name is Jarrett. A lot of you guys have seen me in the group. Talking about junk removal, talking about digital marketing, talking about all the different stuff, junk removal related and business related, right? So I just wanted to kind of jump on because we see a lot of the same questions in the group every single day. The main questions is, hey, how much should I charge to pick this up, right? And one of the next questions is hey, how do you guys advertise? And then as more and more people come in, we hear, hey, is Homeadvisor worth getting? Is Google Adwords worth doing? How do you market in Facebook? How do you market in Craigslist? And how do you, who does websites? Like who builds websites? And then, we have the onslaught of, people, including myself, right? That will put themselves and put their name in the hat, to build websites and different things. And that's perfectly okay. But we have to realize, and whoever's watching this, is that with the economy the way it is, a lot of us having, maybe lost our jobs with COVID or anything like that, the junk removal business, with the population how popular YouTube is and different things like that, a lot of us have watched, how to make money from home with Matt Vick and Sonoma and all of that, those really cool channels. Shout out to Matt Vick. But showing, and Junk Removal Association and Junk Removal Authority and all these different types of junk removal companies, even those franchises that do offer franchises to start your own company. It's very tempting, right, to get in, and it's very lucrative to get in if you can get into the market and you can, make some noise in the market. It's very profitable, and it's a great way to own your own company. The problem with junk removal is that it's got a very low barrier of entry, which means you don't really need a whole lot to get started. And we see that within the groups. We see that, you can have a car and put a ball on the end of it and pull a trailer around, or you could have a pickup truck. You can rent a U-Haul. You don't even have to have a truck to be able to do junk removal jobs. And so the barrier of entry is very low. Insurance is very low. And so people can get into this market really, really easy. And so with the economy the way it is, I know everybody has seen it, this influx of people getting into this market. And then you hear some people complaining about like getting undercut and all of those different things. So what do we do as legitimate business owners, or if you're looking to be a legitimate business owner, what do we do to set ourselves apart? What do we do to not have to worry about those people that are coming in and out, undercutting your jobs? What do we do, right? And everybody's answer is different. So there's no one answer that's going to fit every single problem, because we're all from different areas. We're all from different markets, right? So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you're in the Los Angeles area, or if you're in the Sacramento area, the Phoenix area, like all of these different little hotbeds, Chicago, all these different hotbeds of people, areas where junk removal companies are just like booming and picking up. Yeah, your competition is going to be harder. It's going to be much harder for you to land jobs. It's going to be much harder for you to get work. It's going to cost you more money in advertising. But so how do we go about answering some of these questions and answering some of these questions over and over again about SEO, digital marketing, your GMBs, Google AdWords? We can't not cover everything. So what I'm going to try to do is kind of give you a really quick, maybe 20-minute overview of how you can work and do your own SEO. How SEO works, how to optimize your GMB, right? How to get jobs organically, how to get jobs where you're not paying for advertising, right? Or at least and you go in more informed when you're talking to a digital marketer about the process that they use to get you work, okay? So first things first, we're just gonna start. We'll go ahead and start with just Google, okay? And so we're gonna go ahead and pull up a Google thing here. I don't know if you can see me here. I don't guess you can see me. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna pull up Google really quick, and we're gonna do a quick search and see what happens. Sorry guys, hold on one second. All right, okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and really quick just start, and I'm going to do just a real quick Google search. Okay, so let's just say we're gonna type in junk removal. All right, now I'm in a small city. Okay, so if I type in junk removal, now we're gonna see really quickly that these are your AdWords. So this is what Google AdWords is. If you're not sure what Google AdWords are, this is Google AdWords. And so this is going to rank on a couple different things. Okay, so it's not necessarily how much money you spend, but it's how well your ad is written. So Google gives every single ad a grade. Okay, how well it's written, how optimized it is, like all of these different things. And so depending on your budget and depending on your ranking and your history, right, how well they grade your ad is where this comes up, right? And so if you're the only person that is running Google AdWords in your area, then chances are you're not going to have to spend a lot of money. You could set a very low budget because you're going to be the only guy that is running AdWords. And so, you know, when we ask, hey, will AdWords work for me? Well, go ahead and look and do a quick search in your area that you want, and see how many people are running AdWords, right? And so we could see that, you know, Junk King is Go Load Up. Both of those are national companies. Junk Lords, No Job Too Small. I'm not really sure if that's a local company or not. And then we have your map pack, okay? And so this is your GMB right here, and this is your map pack, okay? A lot of your business is going to come from this map pack. This is kind of like the yellow pages. This is like 50 to 75% of your business. So if you don't have one of these yet, you definitely need to get one of these because this is going to generate a lot of phone calls for you. And Google has been playing around. They just ran a recent update in June that affected a lot of these rankings. And if you weren't really well optimized, you lost a lot of headway in this. And so as you can see, if you click view all, which very few people will view all unless they're looking for a very specific person, you come down and then they have all the different other businesses available. Okay. And so also when you're doing a search, depending on what city and what market you're in. So a lot of you guys are like me, you live outside of a big city. And so I live outside of a big city. I don't do any jobs in the city that I live in. And so if you come down and you look all the way at the bottom, there is an area where Google will tell you like, hey, you see right here, it says home. This is the city that I live in. And you can see that this is, you can see that this is the area that I'm searching because I'm searching for my home computer. And what happens is if you're searching for yourself and you're showing up in your main area, but that's not where you do most of your business, it gives you a false sense of like, hey, I'm doing really well. So when I search junk removal from my home, my company is not in this top list because I don't try to get work in my company. So I don't focus on getting here. Like my main stuff is 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes out is where most of my jobs come from. That's where I want to focus. And so if we were to go, and you can do this as well, if you go to this app, it's called Valentine app, valentine.app. Now, what this is going to do, it's going to change your location for your browser, okay? And so we're going to search for the keyword junk removal, okay? And then we're going to come in here. You have to fill out all of it, even though it's already filled out. Hit United States. And then we're going to put in the city that I want to see how well I'm ranking in. And then we hit this little geocode, right? And it's going to fix that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit search. Okay. And so now what's going to happen is it's going to pretend, it's going to trick my browser into thinking that I'm in that city. Okay. And so if we come down here, we can see now I'm in the city that I searched. So it went from my home city to this city. And so now if we come, we can see, you know, my company's called Metairie Junk Removal. So I just type the word in junk removal and we can see that we have the AdWords again at the top. But then we can see that my company right here is number one. I want you to look, I have 57 5-star reviews. And we come down and my website right here is at the top of the list, okay? And so this is organic listings, okay? So this is kind of where, this is what the SEO people are supposed to do. They're supposed to get you up organically, right? Whether or not they work with your Google My Business or whether they work directly with your website, that's completely, you need to make sure when you're talking to whoever's doing your SEO, what they're actually trying to do. And the next thing is what they're trying to rank for, okay? Because I'm going to show you something else. And so if we were to go, right, and we were to type in, Google, so again, now we're back to my home area. And now if I wanted to type in my company, like the name of my company, right? So if I were to type in Metairie Junk Removal, all right, I'm going to show up because I did a keyword search. So it's much easier. Now, not say I'm number one now all of a sudden, but if we come down, we see that in Chalmette right down here that I'm showing up still because I did a specific keyword search. And so what's going to happen is you have to be careful how you search, because SEO guys will be like, hey, look, you're ranking really well for your name, right? Well, you are going to rank really well for your name, especially if you don't have a very, like my name's pretty, spammy, right? It's like the city and junk removal, right? That's just whatever. But let's just say you had a very branded name, okay? And I'll give you an example. We'll find an example. So if we find, let's pick a city. Let's do like Pittsburgh. And I'm going to show you what I mean by, okay, so it did fix it, so y'all don't yell at me for whatever. So what we'll do is we're going to find a very branded name, okay? So maybe you have a very branded name. So let's find one with a very branded name. Okay, so like One Mic Junk Removal, okay? One Mic Junk Removal. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go over here and we're going to type in One Mic Junk Removal. Okay. And let's see if it popped up. It might not because Pittsburgh's really far away. But, oh, he doesn't have a website. Okay, so there's no website. I shouldn't have picked that. Okay, no website associated with that. But what's going to happen is when you search for a branded name, you're going to show up. And I see that a lot. So like, hey, I'm doing SEO, and then they start like ranking for Mike's hauling services, right? Problem is nobody searches for Mike's hauling services. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't rank for your name, because that's part of branding, but we shouldn't focus on trying to rank for your name, because most people that are trying to hire you aren't searching for your name, they're searching for keywords, right? And so those keywords are hard to rank for, and that's why you would normally pay somebody who does search engine optimization to rank for those keywords. And so same thing here, like if I wanted to do shed removal, right, which is another keyword, very profitable for our business. I love shed removals, make a lot of money really quickly, and I make sure that we're in the right area. I want to show up for that keyword. I want my company to show up. And so as you can see, like I'm right here, number 2 in the map pack, underneath, the demolition guy, right? So like my company's showing up, and then down here we have shed removal, and we come down, and so like I have some work to do. So I'm not showing up in this top for shed removal, so I know that I need to work on that keyword. So if I were to look up like furniture removal, right? And hit search. We come down here, make sure that we're in Metairie, and we can see my company showing up, Metairie Junk Removal at the top, Metairie Junk Removal at the top for those keywords. And so that's what search engine optimization is, okay? So really quick, I know I'm already on like 15 minutes, so I hope I'm kind of keeping you guys here. So that's what we want to do. You want somebody that's going to help your business show up in the top of the listings for all of these really profitable keywords, right? the furniture removal, the appliance removal, the yard debris removal, the structure demolition, the hot tub removals, like all of these things you want to show up for, not just junk removal. We want to show up for like those high paying keywords, like old cars, right? Boat removal, like all of these things you want to show up for. That way, anybody searches for anything, that you have a really good shot of showing up. So the more powerful your website is, the more powerful your GMB is. They are separate entities, but they do feed off of each other. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of show you guys a couple different ways to what Google wants for SEO. So everybody talks about Google algorithms and Google updates, and it can get very, very complicated. But at its heart, Google is a search engine that obviously wants to make money, but it's also a search engine that wants to give people the best results. Because if Google doesn't give people the best results, what happens is people will eventually quit using Google, right? People want to use the best possible thing. They want to find the best information that they can do. So Google's always trying to find the best information to put at the top, to give that user very quick search results and very accurate search results, to get that user what they want. And so a lot of people worry about, hey, what does my website look like, right? So if we go here, we go to Wiki, if I go here and let's just say I type in, Mike Tyson, and I want to know something about Mike Tyson. So I Google search Mike Tyson. The first website that shows up is Wikipedia, not Mike Tyson's Twitter account, not Mike Tyson's Instagram, not even MikeTyson.com is the first that show up. Wikipedia is the first one to show up. The reason Wikipedia is the first one to show up is not because of Wikipedia, pays for SEO. I mean, do you think Wikipedia literally does SEO to show up for Mike Tyson? No, they don't have somebody like typing in all these keywords and saying, oh, we've got to show up for Mike Tyson. No, but what Wikipedia does is gives the user, which is us, you and I, the best information about Mike Tyson. And so Google knows that and puts that as a priority to go to the top of the list. Okay. And so as you can see, there's so much information on here that, if there's anything you want to ever know about Mike Tyson is on here. Okay. And so when we do this, when we give Google the information, it's going to prioritize our site above others. And I want to show you a good example and a good real-time example of that. And so let's just go back to furniture removal, right? And we're going to come here. So this, don't judge me guys on this website. This is a Weebly website. I threw it up less than a year ago, but I build nicer websites than this. But I leave this site alone because I want people to know that it's not necessarily how well your site looks, what platform it's on, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? What matters is do you have the information, right? And so if you come down here, this is just a plain Jane. Look, it is super, super simple, very simple. I mean, it's not even right, but this site is very well optimized. It has a lot of content, probably about 12 to 1500 words of content. And it has all the different types of services. It's optimized well for SEO, which means you can see some of these bold letters. I'm telling Google what's important. I have H1 tags, which is telling Google the right order to read my site. I have all these different types of service pages to say what I do. And I really need to build this site out some more. I really do. But you can see that I have temporary dumpsters, structure removal, yard waste removal, and the site's not very pretty. Okay, guys? And if we go back to the Google page, and I want to show you something. And if we go back to the Google page, we see this is right at the top of Google, right? And then we see Homeadvisor, Wayfair, Go Load Up, Yelp, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, Hometown Dumpster, Metairie couch removal. Okay, so like legitimately, the first website that's organic is this, and I don't think this is anything because this is Couch Disposal Plus, so that's probably Mattress Disposal Plus. That's a national company. There's like not another local company on the first page. No, not one local company. Okay, this is Homeadvisor, and if we come down, we keep looking. 12 best movers in Chalmette. Then we have College Hunks. that's, you know, two man in a truck. But, you know, okay, so let's look at collegehunkjunk.com. Look at how well their website looks versus the one I just showed you, and they're on the, you know, in the middle of page 2, right? Same thing, you know, so it's not necessarily how well your site looks. I know we all want a beautiful site, and that's cool and great, but Google don't give a crap. Google sees code. It does not see how pretty your site is. It sees the information that you give it to say, hey, this is why I should be number one. And so one of the best things that you can do if you have built your own website is make sure that you're adding content to it. Right. Talk about your service. Talk about all the services that you do. Make sure that you're trying to put in some of those keywords that you want to rank for, like furniture removal, yard waste disposal, you know, appliance removal, washer and dryer removal, mattress removal. Like, try to incorporate those things in your content, okay? And that's going to help you. Okay, so that's the on-site stuff, right? That's going in and saying like, okay, on-site, all my stuff is done correctly. There's no errors. Page speed has some things to do with it. Bounce rate, like all these things help you rank. And so how fast your website loads, but they all work together. Okay, so if your site's a little bit slow, but it's super optimized, it's not really going to hurt it. But having all of those things optimized, right, on-site optimization is going to give you a better chance of ranking just with the site without doing anything. Building a really good site, depending on your market, you might not even need SEO. If you're in a lower market without a lot of competition, if you put a very well done site, you might not have to pay for SEO because you might just go to the top over a couple months, a couple weeks. Naturally, Google's going to run it. There's no such thing as publishing a site and being number one. It always takes time. So know that it does take time, but with the right stuff, there's not a whole lot that you have to do to get your site up to the top. So that is on-site stuff, okay? Making sure all of this stuff's dialed in, giving Google what it wants. The off-site optimization, what you're paying an SEO guy to do, is something like we call like backlinking and different things like that. And that's where we go around the internet and we might write blog articles, or we might get links that point back to your site. So like we may go find an article about junk removal, and we might write an article about junk removal, and then we might tag your company. In other words, just like you tag somebody in Facebook, that's what backlinking is. We're tagging that website on a relevant source. And when we do that, Google will find that tag and follow it to your website. And so the more relevant tags that you have, the more topical tags that you have, the better your site's going to do, right? And so if you want to do some of your own SEO, some of the best things that you can do is go to your local directories in your city. So if you live in Chicago, go find an online Chicago directory, pay the $30, the $50, the $100, whatever it is, to get your site listed in that local directory for Chicago. Get your URL listed in that site. Go to your Chamber of Commerce, see how much it costs. See if they can add your link for a fee to their website. Local links are going to help you rank your local site, right? Google would rather put a local site than Homeadvisor site, okay? But we don't really give them a whole lot of options. So Homeadvisor easily ranks because most of us are not doing the proper work to get our site ranked. So that's what a backlink is. And so, you know, you can, and SEO guys have certain tools. We have certain tools that we can follow backlinks. Like we can go in here and I can go on, you know, this website right here, you know, and I can use software to find these links that this guy uses. There's all types of software, and there's free software that you can actually go in here and see the guy's backlinks, right? So these are all sites that are pointing to this guy's website. And so you can see all these, you know, yellow pages, all these different areas are pointing tags, right? They're pointing tags back to this guy's site. We could check his on-page SEO. We can see how many words he has indexed, right? You can see even here, right? Number of words, 666 words. It even tells us pages with at least 2,000 words tend to rank higher in the rankings, right? We can look at his headings. and see that his headings are good. Hey, your headings are good. He's got one H1 tag, all these different things. We can see this on-page keywords, right? We can see outbound links. So that's what an SEO guy does, is he gives Google what it wants so that your site shows up. And so Google wants you to be relative. It wants trustworthy sites to be tagging you. It wants your site to have good information so that it can give it to us as users. And that's the website side of it. That's basically what SEO does. And it does take time, but it doesn't, depending on the market, it may take 6 months to get to the first page of the page 1 of Google. It may take a year for really competitive markets. But that's what is going on, and it does take time. It does take some money to buy some certain links and buy powerful tags and things like that. So that's what your SEO guys are doing. But it's definitely something you can do to yourself with a little research and a little bit of work, a little bit of on-site optimization. So what I'm going to do is I actually have to roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause, but then I'm going to come back and then we're going to talk about GMBs. And so why a GMB is important. So we're going to go and talk about this little thing called Google My Business, right? And we're going to look at, the Google My Business, right? And see what in the world is going on and how we can optimize it, how we can get it to that top 3. What are some of the things that you can do to help your business get to that top spot, right? And to bring you in more business. And so we're going to do that in a few minutes. I do have to run really quick, so I'm going to pause this and I'm going to come back in a little while and we'll finish up this video, and hopefully you guys will find some good content in this. All right. Okay, so what I decided to do was, it's actually the completely next day. That's how busy I got. So what I decided to do was, we are going to just do a whole nother video on GMB since this one is already so long. So I just wanted to hit up just a little bit more about on-site optimization for your particular website, right? And so on-site optimization, some of the things that you have to and you should be looking for are, keywords, header tags. Like, make sure that your website is broken up into sections. A lot of websites that I look at don't even mention where your service is or where your business is located. And that is, super important, because if, we don't tell Google where our business is, there's only so many things that Google can pick up on around the internet to try to put 2 and 2 together, right? So especially when you launch a new site, and let's see if I can find you just a really quick example. Let's just type in, I don't want to accidentally pick on anybody's business in the group or mistake. So let's just do something like lawn irrigation or something like that, okay? So if we were to type in lawn irrigation, I don't know. Let's pick, I don't know, Pasco County. Okay, yeah, let's do that. And so we'll look for a business here, and we're not going to go to the person on page 1. Let's go to person on page like 3 or 4 or whatever, right? And if we want to come down here, so we're just going to look for lawn irrigation company. And so then all we have these different lawn irrigation companies. And so let's go and go to page 3 and look at some of these, and we'll see if we can find one. All right, we'll just check this one. So let's just go check this one. This guy's on page 4. Okay. All right, so we see that he does have a city up here. So the grass is always greener on your side. Millennial Lawn, Escape, and Nursery. All right, so we know it's a women-owned business, full-time landscaping company. We believe in having one landscape designer handle your job. So then we have your services. So this is good, right? Tells them all the different services that they do. Tree services, arbor jet, that's cool. Sod, tiki huts, nursery, testimonials, right? Come down, why choose us? So it's this big pitch. We got serving Hills, Borough, whatever, Pasco and Hernando counties. Okay, so this website is not actually that bad, but let's kind of look at it and see, why is it ranking very well? So just with a quick look, it does have these different service pages, but if we take a look at the inside of the website, again, this is a lot of technical data, guys, and some of you guys have probably already checked out, but we see right here, it has zero trust from this tool, saying that, hey, it's been around, it's got 14 different hashtags, or like we talked about, like tags, like other places tagging this thing. Does a lot of Facebook. You can see it's got a lot of Facebook. 458, 22,000 on Twitter. So they do a lot of like social media stuff. But if we check out like what their backlinks were, like those places that are tagging them, we're probably going to see just a lot of directory links, which means they probably paid like a service or an SEO service that just put cheap, sorry, I sneezed, cheap and really easy backlinks, non-trustworthy backlinks. And you can see like their highest trust flow backlink is a 14, and that comes from a news article that probably tagged their website. And then if you go down, you can see none of these other ones have high trust flow. So they're just these little bitty, other websites that are, see, this is a directory link. So it's not necessarily like how many links that you have that are going to push this thing forward. And to be honest, this is probably not a very difficult market. We're talking about lawn irrigation in Pasco County, which is not that huge of an area. If we want to go ahead and look at their on-page SEO, we can see that they have a pretty good amount of words. Like I said, the website looks pretty good. But like, it's all these things that are put together that make a really big, that make a really strong website. It's all of these little bitty things, like the right keywords and the right layout on your headers. So like, for instance, if we see this, their H1 tag, right? Your H1 tag is what tells Google, like, this is what my website is about. Okay? Like, that's the most important phrase. So if you could put your phrase down, like, hey, what is my website about? Like, for us, it would be like junk removal in Phoenix, Arizona. That's it. That is the ultimate, hey, this is what my website is about. And so you can see that their H1 tag is Millennial Lawn, Landscape, and Nursery. So again, they're branding their name, right? Which is not a bad thing, but they're saying that this website is about Millennial Lawn, Landscape, and Nursery. So Google's got to kind of figure that stuff out, where really this section should be about landscaping company in Pasco County, right? So like those little bitty things, this H2 tag says our services. That's like the second most thing, right? And then residential landscape, commercial landscape. So that's not bad. And then it should go down, right? It should go down from there. So the tags are in order, but they probably need to be fixed around a little bit. So all of these things is what a good SEO company should be doing. They should be doing really good keyword research. They should know your company. So if you're hiring out an SEO person, they should be doing keyword research. They should know what the most highest ticket margin service is that you do. They should know what your close rate is. They should know what the percentage of jobs make you the most money. They should know all the different types of services that people are searching for, so that you can get all those little crazy jobs, all the jobs that we want. Like, hey, I got this building that I need cleaned out, 4 stories.
Like, how do you get that job, right? How do people find you for that job? So the right SEO guy and the right person, or if you do the right job and do the stuff, you should be seeing growth, right? Substantial growth in all different areas for all different keywords. And if you're doing this yourself, just make sure that you're adding to this. Like, this is like who you are. Your website is your strength. So I'm not saying add to it every day, but once a month, go in there, write an article, add a paragraph, add a testimony, add a service page, add a location page. Go in there and do all of those things, and guys, you'll start to see that up. Biggest thing too is, remember, is know your market, know who you're competing against, and that really evens the game, right? If you're competing against little bitty people, very low market, you're gonna be fine. You're in a super competitive market, you may need some outside help. Okay, so my GMB one will not be this long. So anyway, guys, if y'all stuck around to the end, if you want to check out the GMB, check it out, and I'll talk to you guys soon.